Okay, we are now we are now live. Okay, let's get a link. All right, that's okay. So we're going to do this. So, hello everyone. My name is Kevin, and this is a live stream event focusing on English culture. We're just going to wait a bit so we can have some patrons in here. And when I say patrons, patrons of who pledge, who have pledged $10 or more to my Patreon campaign. Hang on, let me just. Okay, there we are. And hopefully, for now, we'll just wait until we have some people in here. I mean, this live stream event won't be that long. I speculate something roughly around to like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. Might be a little shorter than that. We'll see, depending how much I talk. But knowing myself, I tend to ramble over here and there. Okay, so all right, let's see who's here. All right, we have one viewer so far. Now, for that one person that just came here, could you please type in the chat so I can kind of know who's here? But okay, we have one person so far. However, for those of you who are not patrons or patrons but less than $10, you are going to see this anyway. It's just the difference is that you won't be able to participate like live stream right now. Okay, cool. All right, we have two people, and I have a good idea who those two people are. Thank you for joining me in this live stream. It's very nice. And the cool thing about this privilege that you have, for those of you who are patrons who have pledged $10 or more, is that you can talk to me right now. You can send me a message. I believe there's a chat somewhere. I mean, I think on the right-hand side of the screen. Or I think. Yeah. But anyway, we're just going to wait a bit more for some more people if they join in. Okay, hang on. All right, no one's talking in the chat. Hang on, maybe I have to hang on. I have a feeling you guys have said something in the chat, but I haven't. I think I have to look at the link. Okay. I see you guys now. All right, I see. Yeah, it's just that I have to weirdly watch myself. Okay, so okay, Sarah's here. Raging Keltist. Okay, cool. Okay. Right. What tattoo? What did I eat? I had cereal, because breakfast, I got up a little late. But anyway, the show must go on. Okay, so what I have for today as far as our program, English culture. I mean, it's English culture is very broad, right? And if you were to compare, let's say, the culture of, let's say, of Yorkshire, where my family's from, to, let's say, Southern England, you kind of have a vast difference. And English culture is really a makeup of obviously what came before. You had the Celts that were there. Well, before that, you had the Metholithic peoples, and then after that, the Celts came there, and then you had the Germanic tribes and whatnot, and then you have the Normans that came in, and so forth. So it's a really mishmash of cultures, really. So, like, for example, the Vikings too. How can I forget them? The Norsemen, I should say. Like for example, in Yorkshire, brass instruments like trombone and trumpet, you name it, are very popular in Yorkshire. It's I would speculate the origins of this may stem back to Germanic peoples where they had bronze lures and whatnot. You know, this really loud horn, like primitive horn like instrument and whatnot. But anyway, um, but that's just speculation. But okay, we're gonna start off with I think this is a Northern English piece. I'm not too sure, but anyway, I'm gonna recite to you, somewhat sing, a really sad, well, sort of sad, um, piece called "Betsy the Serving Maid." It's an English folk song. Hang on, let me get the lyrics for it. Betsy the Serving Maid. And the cool thing about 19th century, 1800s poetry is that it uses older words. Well, obviously older words, but like it's like more Germanic words and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see the chat. Okay. Nom nom nom. Triangle. All right. Oh, how rude of me. How is everyone, by the way? Everyone all good? Yeah, because hope everyone's doing all right. And how rude of me to not ask that, because what I like is interaction with my audience. Yeah. Because when you make a video, it's sort of just, you know, just me. But the comments are always great. I mean, I'm ever so grateful that I have people that like my work, and especially you patrons, because you really make a difference in my life. Anyway, so Betsy the Serving Maid. A thresher's daughter living near. A dreadful story you soon will hear. All off to London and away she and she made away, for she was bound a serving maid to be. So she went till she came to some squire's hall. Right loudly then did knock and call. I hear you want a servant, she said, and I am Betsy, a serving maid. Now the squire had only one son, and very soon Betsy's heart he won. And Betsy being so blithe and fair, this poor boy's heart she did ensnare. So one Sunday evening he took his time, and unto Betsy he told his mind. He swore by oaths and by stars above, 'Tis you, fair Betsy, 'tis you I love. But the old woman, hearing him say so, it filled her heart with both grief and woe. We must contrive to send her away, to be a slave in America. Okay, I need to explain something. The term America is an older term for America. All right, so anyway. So the next Monday morning, the old woman arose, crying, Betsy, go gather up your clothes. For I am going some friends to see, and only you, Betsy, can go with me. So they went till they came to some seaport town, where ships were sailing both up and down. A ship was hailed soon, and in she went. Poor Betsy sailed, and then in discontent. And a few days the old woman came home. It's welcome home, mother, cried her son. It's welcome home, mother, on every side. But where is Betsy, the serving maid? O son, own son, she said, your chief delight is on the sea. I'd sooner see my son lying dead than to see him married to a serving maid. But a few days later, this boy fell sick, so very sick, and so sad was he. They could not cure him, although they tried. He called on Betsy, and then he died. And when she see her son lying dead, she wrung her hands and tore her head. If I could see my son rise again, I'd send for Betsy across the main. So you cruel Parians, listen to me. Don't try to change your lover's destiny, or else you rue what you have done, as this old woman has now has killed her son. Killed her son. That's a there's a good rendition of this. Thank you everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that. There's a good rendition of this by Peter Bellamy who sings this, and like I love his rendition of it. Hang on. Celts had a bronze. Hang on. Celts had a bronze war horn. Sighed and made rhyme in this dialect. I'm not too sure if it's in any dialect per se. I mean, I think it's. I mean, the way it's written. Hang on. Let me. Hang on. Let me. Because normally this is sung. That's the thing, and I've read it. So. Okay, so like a few days. Oh, how's it go? Hang on. I actually have to listen to the song itself too. Betsy the serving maid. Okay. Give an idea of what it would sound like. No, to living near. The story you soon will hear. And a few days later, this old woman come home. It's welcome home, mother, cried her son. It's welcome home, mother, on every side. But where is Betsy, the serving maid? Yeah, okay. I don't think on that stanza, side and maid were. Oh wait, side and maid, side. Yeah, it's really more an accent. Like the way it's sung, like in the second to last stanza where it says, where it starts off, when she see. Okay, I guess I'll have to sing it in the accent. And when she see her son-in-law lying dead, she wrung her hands and tore her head. If I could see my son rise again, I'd send for Betsy across the main. So we have again and main. And obviously in the way I speak, again and main, you know, they don't rhyme, but in I think it's a northern. No, I'm not too sure which dialect exactly. I don't know, but like depending on the accent, some words do rhyme. So yeah, hang on. I have too many tabs open. Hang on, let me make this easier for myself. Okay. All right. So I hope that answers. Yeah. The thing is, as you are in the chat, you know, you can feel free to ask me any question. You know, this is like a time for us to hang out, if you will. Hence Google Hangouts, I suppose. Anyway, okay, so that's that. Pardon me. So what else I have on the menu here? Now this next piece is actually one of my favorite English folk songs ever. Raging Celtist, you might know this. If you know the show Sharp, starring Sean Bean, and it's called "O'er the Hills and Far Away," and the word "o'er" is kind of I wouldn't say an older version. It's a more archaic way of saying over. It's "o'er." So all the hills and all the main, to Flanders, Portugal, and Spain, Queen Anne commands and will obey. O'er the hills and far away. Yeah, I can't really sing that well right now because I just had cereal, and milk doesn't make me sing very well. Anyway, yeah. But this song, "Over the Hills and Far Away," it dates back to the I would think it would date back to the time of Queen Anne, because the first version's like, Queen Anne commands and will obey over the hills and far away. And then you have a later version, it's dedicated to King George. King George commands and will obey over the hills and far away. Yeah, it's a very famous song, and it's basically talking about fighting in wars and duty and whatnot. And hang on, let me. There's a great band out there called well, they're not together anymore, but they're called the Druids, and they have a whole record dedicated to military, like soldier, like songs that soldiers would have songs that soldiers would have sung throughout British history, which is very nice. Yeah. And yeah, there and the tune of it, though, you know, in its older origins, I'm not too sure. Yeah, because this tune is not only for like as a war song, if you will, but it's also like meant for John Gay's like there's an opera called the Beggar's Opera, and that same tune is used, and the lyrics go like something like, were I laid on Greenland's coast, and in my arms embraced my lass, and warm amidst eternal frost too soon, the half a year's night would pass. Were I sold on Indian soil, and so forth. I'm not going to sing the whole thing. Yeah, and this version has no military reference whatsoever. But the latest version of the song is found in the series. I think it was around the 80s when the series was around. Sharp, and it's basically, but it's about a company in not a company as we know it today, but like kind of a squad, if you will, of men fighting in the Napoleonic Wars. So this is like late 8. I'd say somewhere in 1800s, somewhere, or like early 1800s, and possibly. And the lyrics were written by John Chams, and the cool thing about the show is that not only does it show a lot of English history, but like the music in that show are like from the period itself. That's the amazing thing about Sharp. It's that like it's entertaining, it's fun to watch, but like it's also like, as far as music is concerned, it's historically accurate, which is like fantastic. Yeah, in his version, it starts off like this: 40 shillings on the drum for those who volunteer to come list and fight the foe today, o'er the hills and far away. And I think the actual historical version of it. Hang on, let me find it. Okay. Yeah, the version that I first knew. Hang on. I'm gonna find it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Here's the version that the soldiers would have sung back then. It would have been, hark now the drums beat up again, for old true soldier and gentleman, then let us list and march, I say, o'er the hills and far away. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so that's would have been the original lyrics and whatnot. Yeah, and it's all about fighting and soldiering and whatnot, and yeah, yeah, kind of no different how like in comparison to like medieval texts where it like talks about fighting and glory and whatnot. So I mean, I guess some things haven't changed for 1,000 years, I suppose. Anyway, um, all right, let me milk with honey. Am I a student at present? Not at the moment. But I do hope to further my education at some point. And what are my future plans? Do you mean like as far as the channel is concerned, and my area of work, or do you mean like my personal life? Well, I mean, as far as the channel is concerned, well, the thing is about my personal life, I'd rather not answer such a question in this format because you know, because if we're going to discuss my personal life, I'd rather discuss it elsewhere, not in the public format. But as far as the channel is concerned, um, well, as you can tell, there's a lot of pagan stuff coming out, and I have a lot of other pagan stuff that I'm working on. Um, I also got other. I got a collab to do. Yeah, like what I love about what I do is that um, and I never run out of ideas. There's always something to make. There's always something to do because it's old English, right? The fact that it's a language, you can do anything with it. So that's what makes it fun. And and yeah, I mean, I'm trying to um bring up more spiritual content and whatnot, and more pagan content, to connect people to their Germanic English roots. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, what else is on the program here? Okay, now the next thing, next piece, English piece I like to go over is an English folk song called "Once I Loved a Maiden Fair." This is a sad love song. Um, I love the melody of. It's it goes something like this. Once I loved a maiden fair, but she did deceive me. She with Venus might compare, but in my mind, believe me, she was young and among creatures of temptation. Who will say, but maidens may kiss for recreation? 3 times did I make it known to the congregation that the church should make us one, as priest had made relation. Married we straight must be, although we go a begging. Now, alas, 'tis like to prove a very hopeless wedding. Happy he who never knew what to love belonged. Maidens wavering and untrue, many a man have wronged. Fare thee well, faithless girl, I'll not sorrow for thee. And once I held thee, dearest pearl, now I do abhor thee. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and the melody for this is so simple. It's dun 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 dun. Yeah. Anyway, that's one. Oh, maybe I can translate all the pauper books into Old English. Oh dear. Well, that'll take a while, Sarah. That'll take a while. That'll take a long time actually, but we'll get there. Well, no, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I can't make any promises, but yeah. I know. Yeah. It's just as far as translation is concerned. I'm not like I have to admit, like I'm not that fluent enough to translate like a whole story like from modern English to Old English yet. I mean, there might be a few things I like to translate, like fairy tales and stuff like that, like easy stuff to translate because they don't use big words and or non-Germanic words because those are the hard things to translate. You would have to make up uh, words in Old English to compensate those Latin words. Yeah. Okay. So maybe not pauper books because there are a lot of junk books. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Um, but as far as like translating books, I mean, there is there's a guy out there that translated what's it called, Alice in Wonderland in the old, like he did it in other Germanic languages, and like one of them he did it in Old English, but it's an interesting attempt. But people want to read them. Yeah, well, we'll see when we get there. All right, it's yeah, we'll see when we get there. What else is on the list I want to go over? Um, Now as far as English culture, um, and especially of English folklore, there isn't much of it, and there are a few reasons for this. Um, Hang on, I'm sorry if I'm clicking around. It's just I'm trying to organize myself. Um, Did he do it in Old Saxon? I don't know. I know he did it in Gothic, but I don't know about Old Saxon. That would be. Hang on, let me look that up for you. Alice in Wonderland, uh, Old Saxon. Um, I'm afraid. In the Old English one. Um, Hang on. Maybe I got it. I know he did it in Gothic. Hang on. All right, I found the Gothic one now, but it's hmm. Yeah, the guy who did it, his name is David Alexander Carlton. Guy Alice in Wonderland. He did it. Whether he did it in Old Saxon, I'm not. Wait, hang on. What do we have here? Yeah, he did it in. Because I know he even did it in Middle English as well. Okay. Yeah. Um. Okay. Are you interested? Yeah. I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't find anything in Old Saxon. I mean, like, cause thing. Okay. Raging Celtic. I just want to answer this before I get to you. The thing is, Sarah, about Old Saxon is that it because it's not as well as attested as Old English. and the fact that it's not well known. Um, hmm, I don't know. It's not a very popular Germanic language, unfortunately. I wish it was though, but like I guess it goes to show that there has to be people like me who has to popularize it and make it more relevant. I mean, because it's very interesting because I mean, Old Saxon is very much similar to Old English, and even modern English. But anyway, let's move on. Okay. I'm interested in coming up with names. I'm struggling with a good name for a knightly order and kingdom since I've um it'd be good to have and Old English name. Well, as far as with names, how they work is that a lot of them are compound words. A lot of them are like, for example, like Wolfgar. So you have wolf, you have gar, and gar it means spear. Well, actually, a point. Like a lot of people translate gar as spear, but because of Beowulf, like we spear danes, we gardena. Um, but yeah, it's really something with a point. I mean, another way, I guess you could translate it as projectile. I mean, that might be a stretch, but I apologize, everyone. I have to be right back for a few seconds. I just have to change something. All right, it's a humidifier. Anyway, I'll be right back, guys. And I hope you guys are having a good time. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay. They still like to pretend we do not exist in Germany. Well, that's very unfortunate because well, I know you exist in Germany. I know very well that the people of who descend from the Saxons do exist, and I do hope to promote their existence. All right, that we can all get along, and we can all use a ger to a gare to catch fish. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. Wait, is this word get gare? Is it actually they would have that G there. That'd be son. Is that like in your dialect, or is that like a German word? No. Mm. Oh, okay. In Westfalish. Yeah. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I do have a third channel, learning lesser known Germanic tongues, and I have made a number of videos on Westfalish. Yeah, which is a dialect that descends from Old Saxon. Well, it's, I mean, Westfalish. I mean, you could, how can I explain it? Like, it's, a lot of people know it now as like within the group of Plattdeutsch, and that literally means flat German, but I mean, it comes from Old Saxon, so why not call it modern Saxon? Like, we have Old English became, well, English. Duh. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But anyway, all right, let's we have. Anyway, so as I was saying about English culture, as far as folklore is concerned, the reason why we don't have a lot of it in comparison to like Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Scandinavia, and whatnot. Well, there are a number of reasons. One of them being is that that the Anglo-Saxons were early Christian. They became Christian at an early time. So a lot of their stories and whatnot didn't really get saved. I mean, there's a little bit of it, but like it's not a lot to really go on about. Second thing, well, in chronologically speaking, is Norman conquest. Some say that had influence on why there isn't a lot of English folklore. I mean, there is some, but again, not so much. And the third one, um, I, I personally think this is the reason why, is the Industrial Revolution. Because during the time of the Industrial Revolution, this is roughly around the time when Jacob Grimm and his brother were going around. Well, it was mainly his brother going around collecting these fairy tales like Ashputtel and Hansel and Gretel and etc. Um, um, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll just pause my tangent there. Okay, let's read this. My favorite group is medieval micronation. The goal is to build up a real medieval based on the old ways. Okay. Yeah, just to finish off my point about the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, around this time, you have all these people. Sorry, Jacob and his brother, his brother collecting these stories and whatnot. But what was going on in England is that you had all these children and women working in factories and whatnot. So these stories never got passed down, which is really unfortunate because we would have a better insight of how people thought back then, and a better insight into, because thing is, our fairy tales are really a continuation of like our pagan mythology. Like you can identify through the characters of fairy tales of different of gods and da 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 da, based on their characteristics and what they do and their choices they make and whatnot. And because there's a thing called epithets. An epithet is a different name for something. Like for example, we have Woden, or Odin, if you will. Uh, he's known as the hanged god. That's one of his epithets, and he has many others. The Allfather is another one. Um, so yeah, going back to fairy tales and whatnot. So yeah, so a name of a fairy tale character could be an epithet or a much later epithet for a deity and whatnot. So okay. Um. Okay. So now to your comment. Oh, sorry, not comment. Your message. My first group is medieval micronation. The goal is to build up a real medieval-oriented village based on the old ways. The community would be organized by a warrior group, like a warrior like class or something like that. I mean, for something like that, I would think you would have to really study medieval society. Well, because thing is, the way Anglo-Saxon society worked, as far as classes of society, you have your king, then you have your earl. Well, earl and alderman, they're both. I mean, alderman is a later thing, I believe, but you have your earl, and then below that you have your Oh dear, I'm very rusty on this. I could be wrong on this. Below the earl is the thane. Yeah, and the word thane it means servant. Uh, and the thane, and then after that you have churl, which is like a free man, and then below that you have slave, pretty much. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's I'm very okay. Well, that's kind of like the Hinduism. Um, like how the caste system. I mean, like it's not fixed into stone. I mean, like I think in the idea behind that is that you can move up the ladder or something like that. I mean, like it's not really fixed in stone. I from what I understand about it. But I'm ever so pleased that you're very that I've inspired you and your group to learn Old English. Um, I hope my channel is a good beacon for your learning. It was okay. It would not, in fact, be a replica of the past. More modern take. Wow. I mean, well, no. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone I don't think people now like slaves, or even want slaves nowadays. I mean, yeah. Well, back in medieval society, you had slaves, and well, I mean, but anyway, that's a whole different topic and a bit beyond my scope of the period I delve into. But yeah, let's not go too far off topic. All right. So anyway, what else? So anyway, so you had this like culture decline, if you will. So then we have J.R.R. Tolkien, who invented his Middle Earth, and he created it specifically as a mythology for the English, and because there's so little of it, and well, and by little of it, we can talk about the Lambton worm, Lambton worm, and this is like a story from like it's actually a song actually. It's a legend. It's about like a it's I think a dragon slaying. Yeah, it's a dragon slaying legend in England, and this yeah the Lambton worm is a legend from County Durham in northeast England in the UK. The story takes place around the River Wear, and one of the area's most famous pieces of folklore have been adapted from written and oral tradition into pantomime and song formats. Yeah, because there's a song that wait okay it goes and I think it's in like yeah so one well it goes something like this. Well, I'm not going to sing it, but I'm just going to read it out. One Sunday morn, young Lambton went a fishing in a weir and catched a fish upon his. Oh, it's written in the dialect as well. Okay, upon his hoik, hook. I think that was supposed to mean hook, and catched is meant to be caught. He thought he looked very queer. Uh, he thought uh, looked very strange. Yeah, Yeah, thought is, I guess, yeah, because before that you had thought. Yeah. And but what's in a kind of fish it was. It was. And what in a kind of would be what kind of. Young Lambton couldn't tell. He wasn't fash to carry him, so it'd be like could not be bothered to carry it home. So he hid it down a well. So he threw it down a well. Wished, lads, had your gobs, and I'll tell ye all awful. So translation is, be quiet, boys, shut your mouths. Yeah, the word gob means mouth, and this is actually from of Celtic origin. Yeah, the word gob, from what I understand. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wished, lads, had your gob, and I'll tell you boot the worm. Yeah, about. Yeah, this is a very northern piece. Yeah, because a boot or boot comes from a Bhutan, which is Old English, and that means about. But not so much. Well, not so much the way we understand today, but like more like as a preposition. Um, like this book was about this way or something. I don't know. Then it says no Lambton worm felt inclined to gone. Oh, gone, and that's to go in Old English. But this is like in the dialect, so gone. And fight foreign wars. He joined up a troop of knights that cared. Okay, now this is a lot of people speculate that by foreign wars they mean the Crusades, and okay, this is speed things up. Basically, you have a knight who found this worm, he threw it in a well, he went to fight in the Crusades. He comes back, and this dragon, well, it's all grown up now, and this guy has to. Well, a lot of people had tried to fight this dragon, but they all failed, and so our hero, he kills the dragon by wearing um, armor with spikes on it, so that when the dragon attacked our hero, it would get cut into little pieces, and that's how um, our hero overcame the dragon. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. You see, there's so much we can learn from modern Saxon. There's so much. Yet most people don't even know it. Don't even know it exists. Same thing with Frisian. You know, unfortunate, unfortunate. Anyway, moving on. But so now we're into the realm of dialect, and well, actually, to finish off with the dragon tangent, is that in England we have a Roman soldier, well, this patron saint named Saint George, and he fights a dragon, and and he's, well, Roman. But interestingly enough, uh, in Antwerp, in Belgium, in the Flemish region, you have a character called Silvius Brabo, who's a Roman soldier as well, and he fights a giant. Yeah, so like that's an interesting motif that we have, specifically a Roman soldier fighting in these Germanic lands or something like that. Yeah, but I don't want to delve too much into that because then we get into all sorts of things. But now moving on to English dialects, they vary from place to place. I mean, as far as the O pronunciation, in okay, what I'm going to say now is a very general thing to say, but like sort of like in the South, it's more or less oh, I know and whatnot. But then if you go north in let's say like Yorkshire, where my family's from, they would say like I know, and then you go further into Scotland, and they say their O is like oh go, it's like it's more lower in the mouth oh, so yeah. But as far as dialects are concerned, I would like to share something very close, something very dear to me, that a dialect poem that I wrote in maybe Sarah. It's just the thing is about that one with the giant. Apparently, it goes back to um, the time of the Franks. So we're talking like maybe 5th century or something like that. Because thing is, the name Antwerp, of the city, it's really hand. Oh no, sorry. It's really hand warp. Like like in old English we have werpan, to throw. Because the thing is, the story behind this is that you have this river. I forgot the name of the river, and this giant that guards this river. And people want it, and every time someone wants to go across this river, they have to. The giant says, "Oh, you have to pay me money," and if they don't, their hand gets cut off, and then it gets thrown in the river, and the victims get killed, unfortunately. But then we have our hero, Brabo. He ends up cutting off the giant's hand and throws it into the river and kills the giant. And and ever since then, because of this legend, hence how Antwerp got its name. Yeah. So whether there might be come from maybe a common story origin, I don't know. That's a really good question to think about, and would require some investigation. But okay, um, okay. So now, um, here's a dialect poem that I've written. This is from 19th century Sheffield dialect, and the Sheffield dialect comes from Yorkshire, and it goes like this: hear me, oh, don't want to day. Protect our talk, it is for our folk. Rate me down, oh, don't want to day. What is a fork without a talk? The translation of this is: hear me, I don't want to die. Protect our talk, it's for our folk. Write me down, I don't want to die. Uh, what is a folk without a talk? Yeah, it's basically it's talking about protecting dialects and how they're in danger because, well, there are a number of reasons why dialects die and whatnot, but like in our age now, um, I'd say a lot of it would be had to. Excuse me. I think a lot of it would have to do with globalization, um, because because it's considered cool or more economically advantageous to speak the standard form of a language. Standard German, standard Dutch, standard this and that, because the idea is that if you speak your dialect, the people won't understand you, and less job opportunities, and so you have a lot of people. I would think nowadays are thinking more practically, and or they just don't really care about their dialect altogether, and they say, oh well, if I want to make money, let's why would I speak my dialect? I mean, that's the mindset of some of these people. But that's one of the reasons. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. Standardization is another one. Oh yeah, and because of standardization, my problem with standardization that it does lead to discrimination. When you pronounce that wrong, you must be an idiot, or 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 like anything outside of the norm is not. Um, I don't know. I find it standardization. This may sound a little deep and weird, but anyway, I find standardization. It denies the human. It denies the human natural. Um, I don't know how to word it. It denies the human complexity, if you will. Yeah, because it makes things rigid, very rigid, and like it's kind of like to some degree imprisonment. Because I remember growing up, like learning French and whatnot when I was in like high school and all that. I mean, like we're told, oh, this is what it is, and this is the only way what it is. I mean, and if you get it, if you don't write like this, you're wrong. Anyway, okay. Yes, sometimes people make. Oh yeah, Sarah, you're absolutely right. I'll give you an example with my grandfather. Allegedly, um, when he came to Canada when he was like what 7 or something like that, about yeah, and yeah, kids made fun of him for the way he spoke because yeah, to Canadian ears, a Yorkshire accent and dialect would sound pretty strange, like yeah, oh yeah, but I guess at a young age, I mean, kids are immature at that young age anyway, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, discrimination, linguistics discrimination is very yeah. Well, okay, and modern English spelling and especially French spelling is a joke. Why? Well, raging Celtist. I wish things were like that myself, because having learned other languages, other Germanic languages, I can sympathize with people of how much they find English a hard language to learn, because it is the most English. Yeah, both English and French are both the most anti phonetic languages, because part of it is because they all have words that, well, that are from non, like they're not from their own language, or they evolved in a way where like the spellings haven't updated themselves. Because the thing is, the spellings that we have now in English are the same, more or less, almost the same spellings as they were in Chaucer's time in Middle English. Because the thing is, the GH in the words like thought, night, and night. Well, no, even night as in a guy on a horse. That was pronounced. That was a r sound. It was a guttural G, a Grendel G, I should say. So thought was thought. No, r, thought, thought, r, thought, r, thought. Night was nicht, um, and so forth. But I don't know. But then the Great Vowel Shift happened, and then the spellings didn't change and whatnot, and I don't know. Knie, kine, hmm? Yeah, yeah. But to be fair though, um, on the topic of dialects and whatnot, I mean, there are societies out there, there are organizations, nonprofit organizations out there, and people like myself out there that want to help and preserve these dialects. So, so there is hope. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, a third person has joined us. All right. Hello, everyone. Okay. This um for for that person that just joined us now. Uh, if you could type in the chat, live chat, so I can know who which one you are. That'd be great. And I might have a feeling who this third person is, but I don't know. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like knee and not. Yeah. Back then it was, well, knee in Old English was canal. Not as in, okay, hang on. I have to look up that one. Um, Not. I think it's cannot. Oh, it's canota. Yeah, a knot, a fastening, knitting, canota. Yeah, cool. Um, then you have knight as in a guy on a horse. That word itself was knecht. And knecht back then in Old English meant boy, servant, and whatnot. But then, what do we call someone who's like a guy on a horse as we do today? Well, back then, that was a ridere, literally a rider. Excuse me. Yeah, because back then it wasn't loyalty uh, to a country. It was loyalty to a lord or if you will king or helavord. Yeah, that's where the word lord comes from. Helavord. And the first part there, halaf, meaning bread. Halaf, loaf. So it's bread giver, if you will. Yeah. So every word, every name has a story behind it, despite how obscure it may be. Yeah. Okay. Oh wow. I think I think that's I think for now, I guess we can all like have like a hangout question period. So I guess I really don't have much left as far as our program for today. Yeah, Kevin is the name itself. Yeah, I think it comes from Old Irish, like Coem Gayan or something like that, and it means gentle birth and whatnot. But its Latin cognate is Coem Genus, which means like gentle birth. Makes sense because genus meaning birth, generation, and whatnot, and something like that. Yeah. But the way I spell my name, though, um, in Old English, it is like my friend thought it up. It's like it's not an actual Old English. Well, I don't explain it. Like the Kevin spelled Cefin. That's my name, but in like Old Englishized, if you will, because not many people know this, but the way that it looks with the C and F is that's apparently a Welsh spelling of the name Kevin. And it's funny because like when I got some people asking me, "Are you Welsh?" That's a Welsh name there you have there or something. Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, that's a that's the beauty of languages. Like especially when you study ones that related to another. I mean, it makes it so much easier. Yeah. because especially with West Germanic languages. So if you know English, Dutch, and German, let's say you know those three languages, you can pick up Frisian like no problem. Or if you know modern Saxon, and like because they're all variations of each other, if you will. Well, English not so much because it evolved differently and whatnot. So yeah, that's a thing too. That's another interesting thing about what I like about learning about dialects is that some old features they still live with us today. Um, like for example, well, I can think of a Saxon example where uh, I think Ravensburg in Westphalia. I think there. I think in the was it the 18th century? Yeah, I think the 18th century. That the D in middle words was a th sound, apparently. And when I read that, like, whoa, that's pretty awkward to see that pronunciation at such a late time. What is that doing there? Because thing is, what was a th sound back in the time of like the Anglo-Saxons and whatnot, um, on the continent, that evolved into a D sound. So in Old English or Old High German, oh, it's in Suderland. Okay, sorry, I got my places mixed up. Sorry, it's been a while since I've studied that dialect. Um, um, yeah, what happened was, um, you have thu, uh, you know, in most Germanic languages. Um, that sorry, I'm just reading here. That became du. It became a D sound. So that's why in German you have du hast, and then in Shakespeare's English thou hast. Drei. Oh wait, hang on. In Suderland you have drei. Wait, hang on. Like no, like what I mean is that wait no wait. I'm a little confused, Sarah. You got to explain this to me. Um, these words you're showing me now, is this today or is this like from like a long time ago? Because you might be oh right, okay. Oh yeah, probably from the book I found. Yeah, because I was learning about Sarah's dialect and I did some really deep research and I found a book all about her dialect and like the whole thing's in German, but like from what little German I know, and Sarah looked at it too, and yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I didn't know that, I didn't catch that, but like there are also other pronunciations where like when you have a D in the middle of words, it's also a th sound, which is kind of weird, and I didn't know it was initial as well at the start of a word. That's really interesting. That's really cool. Um, that it that D didn't happen all over the place. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. So the thing is, if that survived, then we got to think. Well, other things must have survived too, like perhaps some folklore. You know, I don't know, what have you. Um, that's the most interesting thing about these dialects that are not well known. That they hold keys to or they hold mysteries to tales that we wouldn't have before. And the thing is, and this is very important to realize that think about everything we have now on the internet, like things you can find and research and whatnot. But think about what isn't on there, that isn't digitized. I mean, there's a whole lot out there that hasn't got to the internet yet. Like for example, recently there's a prayer book in Middle Dutch. I think it's going to be released next year. As far as its digitization, and this is going to be great because from there, from the language in that, we can look at what from the words we see from there, we can then work backwards to see how Old Dutch was. Yeah. So yeah, because sometimes when you're working with older languages, sometimes you have to know what came after to understand what came before. I'll give you an English example. Words in Old English that um, that evolved into like morrow, sorrow, burrow. Oh, pardon me, burrow, sorrow, burrow. Back then, they all had a Grendel gene, the r sound. So sorga, sorrow. Burrow, burrow. That's yeah. So yeah. So our pronunciation, well, the North American pronunciation comes from burrow, which in England they say burra, Scarborough, where in Canada Scarborough. Yeah. Hang on, let me read this. That's the one reason why I'm going for a master's in medieval studies. Oh wow, there are. Yeah, yeah, raging. I totally understand what you mean because a lot of people. I've had this happen to me when I was in university, that they really you have this Greco-Roman philia. I find, and any talk of Germanic tribes and whatnot, like it's just like it's with kind of this disdain almost. I mean, I remember when I was in university, learning like taking a Roman history course, and the guy teaching it, English guy, uh, he put down his own people, which is like, what are you doing? How dare you? You know, I don't know, but that's good, man. I really hope that goes well. Good luck to you in your studies. Um, yeah, I know. It's unfortunate, but hopefully over time, with the rise of Old English, and all things of this period, we'll see a change in academic attitude. I don't know, but well, like in life, I mean, you have good and bad people in every field of life. I mean, you have some academics that are like, okay, you know what? I mean, yeah, uh, let's learn about our dramatic ancestors and whatnot. But then you have people who, oh, so you're learning about that, are you? Why would you look? You see, it'd be better for you to learn about the greatness of Rome and Greece and all about all that stuff. It's sort of oh my god. Oh, that made me laugh. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Okay. Right on, Sarah. Asterix and Obelix. Oh yeah. Those that yeah. They're interesting comic. Um yeah, about goals and whatnot, but that's kind of yeah, I guess that's an attempt to like I guess for children to get them to not focus on, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I remember growing up and hearing about that. I mean, like it was all in French, so I didn't really get into it as much, but yeah, it's aesthetics and overlays. Yeah. Yeah, it was only until much later in life I realized that that comic or show is really about the gulls and whatnot, which is, but I guess for young children, it's a good introduction, you know. Because thing is, I remember when I was like what 10 or 11 that I'd or 9, like I'd watch no, yeah, like I'd watch the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe. I mean, thinking back now, damn, that's a pretty violent movie for a young kid to watch. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Like that was one of the movies that like got me into like history and whatnot. Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think we're living in interesting times though, because I mean, globalization. I mean, yeah, a lot of people don't like it for a number of reasons. Uh, because language issue. Um, but at the same time, like we're all connected, right? I mean, as far as we're all connected, it's like let's say I have an interest in something, you have an interest in the same thing, but you live all the way somewhere else, and I live in another part of the world. We can connect, and that's so it's a really a double-edged sword, really. Okay, are there old English jokes? Not that I know of right now. Um, I mean, as far as jokes, I mean, there are riddles. I mean, well, that's not really a joke, no, is it? No, I mean, yeah, you had riddles, but apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently, um, we get our dark humor as far as England is concerned. We get our dark humor from or sarcastic humor from the Vikings. Apparently, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I don't know how they would come to that conclusion, but maybe looking at no, wait, no, no, no. Well, I know one joke or one funny thing, but it's not in Old English though. I mean, this would have happened in the Latin language, and basically what happened was you have Pope Gregory. He's in a slave market in Rome, and he looks at these two boys, and and the slave owner says, uh, they're angles. Then Pope Gregor's like he says, um, not angles, but angels. And then he's like, who is their king? And the guy says Allah. And right after that, Pope Gregory says, you mean Alleluia? Like Hallelujah, Hallelujah, because the name of the king was so similar to Alleluia. Yeah, because Alleluia is the Latin form of Hallelujah. Yeah, I don't know. When I first heard that, I found that kind of funny. How like Pope Gregory used that kind of play on word or sound, if you will. Yeah. And the reason he was so interested in these two slave boys, because I guess he found them really good looking and thought, oh, where are these people from? And so, yeah, and I think because of that, I could be wrong, which led to Augustine, England, because they thought, oh, yeah, you have these beautiful people, so they must be Christian or something like that. So let's go send one of our main guys in there to investigate. And yeah, that's how I think how it went. I could be wrong on that. I mean, guys, I'm more of a linguist, so my history is sort of rusty and whatnot. But I'm more than happy to be corrected. Well, on anything really, because that's how we learn and grow. Yeah, yeah. Oh boy. Um, hang on. Let me just see how long. Oh wow. Yeah, we've been going on for more than an hour now. Oh, almost an hour and 30 minutes. Oh dear. Long time. Um, I hope all you guys are enjoying this live stream. I'm sorry that it isn't as jam packed as the other ones are, um, because um, I could. Okay, good. Okay, that was my fear. Okay, good. I'm glad that it wasn't boring. You guys find it interesting, stimulating, whatnot. Um, it's just that I haven't done a live stream in a long time, and I feel really guilty because on the tier thing, how can I explain it? So if you pledged like $10 or more, like it's like it says dramatic, like it's for every month. But but given my well, because of life, if you will, that I haven't been doing it every month. I mean, I always get sidetracked and whatnot, but I'll try my best to try to have it every month, as promised, if you will. But yeah, I mean, I like doing this because to really connect with my audience, because it's one thing to like comment on a video or like comment on a post and whatnot. It's not like direct as this, where you can just freely ask me a question like bang like that. Oh, Kevin, did you know about this? Or what have you. Yeah, because I. All right, cool, thank you. Yeah, because I want this whole realm, if you will, to be a positive learning environment. You make so many videos, so it's not so bad. Oh, that's very kind of you. See? Yeah. Yeah. Um, what else to say? Uh, hmm. I'm thinking of actually. This is just the top of my head now. I'm thinking of doing a live stream where it's like a meditation session, where it's like it'd be just me going like, "Oh, no me free," or I don't, or invoking a god or something, or like be a chance for you guys to just meditate, relax, and focus your thoughts on like the chosen deity of the day, if you will. Okay, like for example, let's say I had the live stream on, I don't know, let's say Wednesday. It'd be something like it'd be like we'll see about that, Sarah. We'll see about that. Like to see you try. Oh, actually, but then again, I'm someone who likes to laugh, so I don't know. We'll see about that. Oh, thank you, Raging. Means a lot, because this channel isn't, well, Leren and Eald English isn't only about language learning. It's I would say life in Old English, because I do have children's material. I do have um, poetry. I like all different areas of life, like with Old English. So yeah, so it's I'm really glad that you guys really appreciate my work, because it really means a lot to me. It really, really does. So yeah. So yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm just thinking now. I mean, if I do like a meditation live session, uh, you know, I'm just thinking how to organize that. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, anyway, guys, um, it is now. Yeah, you know what? As for like a meditation session, yeah, uh, I'm open to that idea, you know, and yeah, and these live streams that like what we're having here would be just as for you guys who have pledged $10 or more, because I like having a small group, you know, to talk with and whatnot. Because if there are like 20 of you in here, it'd be kind of hard to talk. But like if it's just like 3 or 4 people, it's like a nice hangout, if you will, you know, because we can learn from each other and whatnot, and no one is yelling over each other. So yeah. Actually, I'll write that down. I mean, I like that idea. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'll write it down. Oh yeah, just to let you guys know that the way I make my videos, um, I write everything down in paper. It helps so much when you write things down in paper. It makes your ideas feel more real, because they exist in the material world. They're not in the internet world. Like I hate typing everything. Uh, you know, and yeah, because now we live in an age where everything's on a screen. I mean, come on. I mean, we invented pens for a reason. Anyway, or feathers. No, we didn't invent feathers. Well, no, we've used quills. You know, but yeah. But then again, writing is more of a later invention, actually. Now that I think about it. Yeah. Whatever. Tangent. Yeah. That's how the I don't want to say masterpieces, because I'd rather be more humble. But yeah, the magic happens in this holy book. You know, who knows? Maybe like I don't know, 100 years from now, or I don't know how long from now, someone would find it's like, oh, this is the book of Kevin of Leer and Old English. What sorcery and what words and what text can we find in this? What can we learn more about the Old English language from Kevin, who has lived in 2017 AD? I don't know, but yeah, that's if this thing gets preserved. I mean, oh wow, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. You know what? I don't want to keep you guys for too long, because you guys probably have stuff to do, and I have to do other things as well. But anyway, guys, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you who have joined. Uh, Yes, we're going to need a lot of monks. We need to bring back Bede. The vulnerable. No, not the vulnerable. God damn it, Hilbert. Pardon my language. Yeah, it's because of Hilbert. I got that joke from, because he made a mistake calling him the vulnerable Bede, the venerable Bede, venerable. All right, venerable Bede. Well, then again, he is vulnerable to criticism. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. It means a lot. I hope to see you guys in the next one. I wish you all the best. And Wezaf Yahal. Be thou well, everyone. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.